right, I am here with the man, the Don Cheadle. I'm actually really excited. True story, you were actually in one of my cousin's movies
Oh,
back in the day, A Lesson Before Dying.
that was your
Uh,
cousin.
so Ernest Gaines is my cousin. So I
Wow.
I am personally very excited to get a chance to talk to you again because we Seattle was the last time
That's right.
when Chris decided to pet a dog. Was the last time we talked. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm Angélique Roché here for Ace Universe to talk with Don about your career. I mean, you are busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. I do a lot. Trying to, figure out how to get a little better work-life balance, but trying to make hay while the sun shines at the same time. It's a juggling act, but I'm mostly happy with the things that I'm doing, and very glad to be here to talk to you about it all.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so a lot of us know you from so many different projects. Recently, Black Monday, Space Jam 2, you obviously Marvel, House of Lies. Like you've had an incredibly impressive, multifaceted career across the board.
Yeah.
We just mentioned A Lesson Before Dying, Crash, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Golden Place. Like it's really amazing. In fact, one of my favorite movies is you portraying Sammy Davis Jr. in the Rat Pack. Um, for you, how do you approach the decision making process in picking your roles and or even creating a role?
Um, there's no, specific template. There's always a bunch of questions that I guess I ask myself about a role before I say yes to it. First of all, is it just in a project that I think is interesting, and is it something that I haven't seen before that I think is going to be exciting for the audience to experience as well as for me to participate in? I'm not just looking for the best, a great part in a project that is like, I kind of want the totality of the thing to be at least have an opportunity of being strong. We never know. We go into these things and then we leave it all on the floor, and the editors and people in post determine actually what it's going to be. They say you make a movie or a project three times. First it's what's written, and then it's what you actually do, and then there's the post process. So you never know, but you just want to go into something hoping that it has good bones and good personnel, and that you're going to be in an experience that we spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months sometimes on something that you're going to be with people that you can tolerate for that long. So it's a series of things, and it used to be different when I was a dad and my kids were at home. It would have to be about being able to get home and being able to get back or get them out to see them. And I've never been away from them more than 3 weeks when they were going through school and all that stuff, and get back to see plays and get back to see games and all that stuff, because that was incredibly important to me. I wasn't going to miss that for anything. So the process has morphed over the years.
I love that. Do you feel like with that more for that process, right? Because again, like you've done almost like around the gambit. You've done a lot of heist movies. We can get back to that. I feel like we have like that's something that I feel like has been like really fun to see in your career. But like, do you have a favorite genre or a favorite type of role to play, and has that kind of evolved with your career?
Honestly, I don't think so. Um,
Mm.
like I said, it's always serving something. Do you know what I mean? I when I graduated from college, I went to California Institute of the Arts, and at school we got to play a lot of different things. We got to do Shakespeare, got to do August Wilson, got to do Moliere, got to do Fugard. We just got to do a ton of different work. And when I graduated, I wanted to continue to do that just because it's the most fun. It's the reason I wanted to be an actor, was to try and inhabit all of these different people, and understand all these different psychologies, and just really uh, expand myself in that way. And we're really lucky as actors because we take on these roles and we get to kind of go to school on all of these people. You play an ER doctor, you hang out with ER doctors and learn about what they do and spend time with them. You play a cop, you do the same with that. You play a crook, you hang out with some crooks, you know what I mean? So it's been a very educational experience and a very rewarding life to play a bunch of different things. And I just never wanted to get pigeonholed. And I wanted to have a career that was, you know, really varied. So that's kind of always been, you know, one of the most important factors in the decision-making process is, what is the last thing I did? Can I go far away from that? Can I go far away from that? Can this be a very elastic career? And can I be believable in all of these things, you know?
So one of the cool things is I mentioned Sammy Davis Jr. I kind of joked a little bit on the tease on music videos. You're no stranger to dance or dancing, like whether it's center stage or backup. You even have like some dance scenes in Black Monday, which is great. There's some dance offs. Um, are these skills that you trained in when you were in college, when you were younger, or are these things that you like picked up along the way?
Well, like I said, we had to do, you know, at Cal Arts, it was very much a conservatory designed in that way. I think it's pretty much that way still now. So if you were an actor, you were kind of running up that path. Theater actor is what I studied, theater acting. And so you would be in studio and movement and voice and speech and script analysis. But on Wednesdays, which was the critical studies day, which is the one day that you would take classes in other métiers, you know, you would take a film class or a dance class or a music appreciation class or world music, whatever. So I took a couple of dance classes, but by no means am I a trained dancer by any means. I love to move, and it's something that I've always loved to do, and have always been an observant person, I believe. So I'm always watching what's happening and mimicking and trying to do that. But I never really trained. You know, then when we graduated from school, you know, I moved into LA, and the LA club scene was bananas. And, you know, I was really close friends with a lot of great dancers, a lot of street dancers, a lot of club dancers, a lot of classically trained dancers. And, you know, I did Fame a couple times. So it was just always kind of in my orbit, and it's just never stopped. I enjoy it. It keeps you young. But it's nothing that I had a design on doing. Like, I got to get some dance in me. It was nothing like that. Things just happened to come up, and like the video that you're referring to, I took a friend to go do that. He didn't have a car, so I drove him down there. And I saw Debbie, and he's like, "You should try to do these dance moves." I'm like, "I'm not a dancer, fam. I can't do it." He's like, "Just try." So I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll try." So I tried a couple moves, and then I was like, "Yeah, this is not for me," and I left. And Debbie was like, "Oh, you don't like my choreography?" I said, "No, I love the choreography. I can't do it. I respect it. So I'm actually not going to do it. I'll come back and get him." And as I was leaving, she ran out of the studio and caught up with me and said, "I'm not going to let you quit." You know, she was really Debbie Allen. "You're going to get back here. You're going to do this. You're going to get this right." I was like, "All right, Ms. Allen, I'll come back and do it." And she sort of bullied me into the doing it.
I mean, how do you say no to Debbie Allen?
I didn't.
Clearly, because you have some moves, and I think it's interesting, right? The folks who do have some kind of skills in dancing, I think it kind of translates over to when you do action or you do suspense. Like, do you feel like these training experiences had an impact on you training for martial arts or getting ready to play, Rhodey? Like, do you feel like you're like, yeah, like this ability to move within my body has now like transitioned into this next part of my career?
Well, it was something I was really interested in even before I started studying in school. You know, I had a great high school drama teacher, Catherine Davis, and she introduced us to everything. You know, Stanislavski and Uda Hagen, and just all kinds of different. And then she introduced me to Cal Arts. She told me about Cal Arts. So movement, and we did a mime show in school, and movement and having your body be the instrument that you're using, and making sure that you are physically adept at doing all the things you're going to have to do, and taking on different character dynamics and different places that you focus your energy. All that stuff was just part and parcel to learning how to be a well-rounded actor. And in school, we did musicals too. We had a movement class that was standard. We actually, Tai Chi was required my freshman year of school. So it was mandatory. You had to take Tai Chi. It was the first class every morning. So, and I just loved it. I fell in love with it, and it's something I've continued to do and still do today. So I was very fortunate to be introduced to, the first martial art very early. So it just, like I said, it's something that, you keep up and want to stay fit and want to stay available physically to do anything that may be required of you. And I just love the physical work. I wanted to be a stuntman before I wanted to be an actor. And then I kind of think I got smart. It's like, you could get killed. So let's not do that.
So you wanted to be Action Jackson. I get it. I mean, didn't everybody want to just jump out of a car for a living and roll and survive?
That's right. That's right.
I love that. It also is a lot of perspective for those of us who are like, there's this one particular scene in the Rat Pack where you basically just own the stage, and it makes like hearing that is like, no, that makes perfect sense. Like having that movement. Okay, so I got to ask. So the next thing is, speaking of embodying things, hair. This is just a personal question for me. Throughout your career, your characters have literally had every single hairstyle possible and imaginable. And
Yeah.
I gotta know, like, are you heavily involved in these creative decisions? Is it something where you're like, go for the moon, shoot for the doors, or are you just open to all these possibilities? You just kind of show up and be like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Well, it's everybody gets to come play, and when you're in great projects and you have great department heads that also are very creative and invested in how these characters are realized, you want to put yourself in their hands, and that's always a part of how we figure out what we're going to do. Clearly I'm involved. Obviously they're not going to do something that I completely reject, but I'm also drafting them in many ways when we're doing a period piece and there's a certain hairstyle that they think specifically with a show like Black Monday, with this character who is so extreme. It's like that's such a huge expression of who he is and why he's choosing these certain looks and what it means. And like this last season, I just didn't do anything to my hair, really. It was just like, this is my hair. So at one point he does, and he gets clowned for it the whole show, and then he's like, all right, forget it, I'm just gonna go with this. But yeah, that's it's a part of, it's putting on your costume, it's putting on your an accent, a dialect, whatever. It's an aspect of the character that needs to be fleshed out. And yes, I'm always open to a designer's idea about what they want that to be, as long as it feels like it's in the pocket and it's not just a hat on a hat.
I'm sorry, I just finished again watching season 3, and that is a joke that literally just nice. All right. So, folks who mostly know you from action and drama lately, obviously Black Monday is a comedy, but know you as Rhodey, have seen your work in House of Lies. Like people, lots of questions about House of Lies, and when it is coming back, if it ever comes back. But for many of us, like we knew you from comedy. We knew you were funny. Like we knew you from comedy and the way you have a very like just keen sense of comedic timing. Like even during our last panel in Seattle, extremely happy about your comedic timing. Thank you again. You seem to be drawn to comedy. Like, is it your first love? Is it something again that's just kind of in this plethora of things you want to try? Like, or do you feel like it's enhanced the other parts of your career?
It just feels like that other mask. You know what I mean? It's that other mask. It's the comedy and the tragedy, and I'm always trying to find a little of each in the other as well. Some of my favorite beats in the comedies that I've been are when we have those down notes and things are very dramatic and touching, and you're sort of, I think, especially in comedy, you have an ability often to connect even more because people are disarmed. People have their guards down and they're laughing. And then when you hit something real and hit a chord that's real, you get in there. And I think that's one of the powers, that's some of the power that comedy has. And conversely, I've been very proud and lucky to be a part of, you mentioned A Lesson Before Dying, antithetical to a comedy, the complete other side of it, real tragic and pathos and drama that's happening in that. Or a movie like Hotel Rwanda, again, the other side of that. And I love it all. You know what I mean? I think it's all a part of what I really love more than anything, which is just being a storyteller. So all the ways that we can get messages across, sometimes, you know, you smuggle them in, sometimes you hit people right between the eyes with it. But it's all really trying to entertain people with the goal of opening up minds and touching people in a place that other things don't. So yeah, I don't have a druthers. I'd rather be in something that people feel and appreciate, and that feeds them and feeds me too.
I think that's a perfect segue to the next question, which is, you know, in addition to acting, you have extensive experience behind the camera, directing, producing, writing. Like, do you have a preference? I feel like you're gonna or is it just like a passion project, like Miles, right? Like, you know, and which is, huh, we hadn't even talked about it yet, but it's.
Thank you.
I'm a big jazz fan, so for me, I was very excited to hear that it was even being made.
Thank you.
Yeah, does behind and front of the camera just you're like, let's do it, let's get the experience, or you're like, does it depend on your passion for the project and the subject matter?
Well, it's specific with that one specifically. That if I didn't wear all those hats, then it just wasn't going to happen. That's just how that one came about. I had to do all of those things, and honestly, I I can't say that any of those aspects didn't suffer, because I had to jump around and do through too many hoops, you know. So there's something to be said about having those roles be bifurcated, having a director, having an actor, having a writer, having a producer, people who just have their eye on that ball and aren't trying to do all of those things. I don't know that I would ever do that again in that way.
It was a lot.
It was too much. And like I said, I think there were things that probably were missed as a result of me doing everything. But I learned a lot. It was like my, film school. I paid for that movie. It's something that I'm very proud of and glad that I had that experience. But yeah, I think I would do it differently. But it depends on what the project is. You know, if I have an idea, I just had a spark of an idea. That came off of, interestingly, this clip that went viral with me and Kevin Hart. And
I couldn't imagine what clip that would be.
yeah, but you know, I hit him right afterwards, and you know, we've been trying to do something for a minute. But you know, I hit him right afterwards and said, "Hey, I've got this idea," and kind of sketched it out and started to write it. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if there's that space that's what's required to get that thing happening, then yeah, I'll step in and do that. I'm comfortable doing that. As comfortable as one can be writing, because it is the hardest thing, period. But yeah, I think that the hats, which one I'm going to wear at what time, again, is kind of a fluid thing, and still all in service of ultimately trying to tell a compelling story.
I love it. All right, so fans will be very upset with me if I don't ask this next question, and I am very okay with you not having an answer for it because there may not be one. So, you know, Armor Wars is coming. You know what? Honestly, it wouldn't have been a panel with you if you. Nope, appropriate. So congratulations. That's all I'll say on that. I will pull back and I will just talk about James Rhodes.
You can ask a lot of questions. I just can't give a lot of answers.
You know what? And I appreciate that and respect those boundaries. Yeah. So let's take a step back. You know, a lot of folks, like Rhodey is one of like literally the cores of the Marvel universe right now, and you really embodied Colonel James Rhodes. You know, what was the most memorable part of playing Rhodey? And you know, what are you most excited about with the evolution with absolutely no requirement for specific?
Well, I think the most exciting part is yet to come. I think we don't really have a super strong idea who he is, really, outside of that sort of bubble of the Avengers, outside of necessarily his friendship with Tony. And now he's going to kind of be untethered from all of that. So it's an opportunity to really kind of discover who he is in a way that we have not had before, with concentrated time and focus on Rhodey and Rhodey's journey, and hopefully some stuff about his past, and teeing up some things about his potential future. Who knows how long this Marvel thing goes? It seems kind of unending, and we might all die on set one day. But I think there's just what's most exciting is yet to come, and I think those kinds of things were hinted at in Endgame. Where this character might go, and the things that may be in the offing for him. It's very early in the process of Armor Wars. We just hired my boy Yasser, which I'm very excited about. Wrote on Black Monday, become really good friends with him and close with him. He's a great guy. A lot of great ideas. But honestly, we're just really trying to crack the spine of what it's going to be and chop it up. I couldn't even really give you the answers if you asked them, because we're super in the clay mode right now.
I was like, Yasser just got announced like a week ago.
I know.
I
texted him and I was like, bro, how does it feel to have just gotten this gig and to get fired on a text because you're out? So he didn't. He responded in the way that you would think. He was devastated, which is all I was looking for. And I was like, nah, psych, you're in. But yeah, so I can't wait to go through this experience with my good friend Yasser.
Oh, Yasser X. All right, so the next question before we get to fan questions, because we got to get to fan questions. Your work in the entertainment industry is only rivaled by your work in social justice and the work that you have done, utilizing your platform and your voice, whether it's Not on Our Watch, whether it is, speaking up for trans kids, or just like your daily social media presence. For you, in all of this, why do you feel like that's so important for you to utilize your platform in this way? Just for you personally, because it is one of the things I love about your social media presence.
Well, because I have one, because I have a platform. I have some type of social media presence, and I think with everything that we see happening in this country, in this world right now, it's just trying to be additive and intend the light and push back at the darkness to the best of your ability. Do you know what I mean? We're going to miss, we're going to make mistakes, we're going to trip up sometimes, we're going to overcorrect, but always trying to find a way to give people who don't have the platform, who don't have a voice, attention and focus, and lend that to them. These people are doing the work. My work compared to the people that have been in these spaces for years and years and years is nothing. So people who are dealing with climate justice, people who are dealing with trans issues, as you said, people who are dealing with social justice, racial equality, voting, all of these things need to be happening at the same time, because they're all being pushed back against and attacked at the same time. So just trying to, in the double Dutch game of the 24-hour news cycle, like trying to figure out how do you ring a bell? How do you add to the sum of something that's happening to amplify it, and raise the din on things that otherwise would, probably be brushed under the rug. There are so many things happening. I was texting, not to humble brag or anything, but I was texting with Soledad O'Brien this morning, who I love, And she was like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I just woke up like sad. I just woke up like sad about everything in a way that's happening right now, and feeling a bit overwhelmed. But that has to be a temporary sort of a lament, and then you kind of have to get back on the bike and start putting things together and trying to move, because hate don't sleep. It don't sleep.
It does not. It does not. Oh man. All right. So fan questions. I want because the fans are so excited to ask you so many questions. So this actually goes back to the dance thing.
Yeah.
How was it to dance behind Miss Angela Winbush? And how was it to be choreographed by Debbie Allen? I am just to add to this question.
Intimidating, because all the kids in that dance piece are trained dancers. You look around, you go, one of these things is not like the other. That was me. But she was like I told you, she was on me, and she would not take no for an answer. And we shot that at that car wash right there. It's like a little east of Fairfax on Sunset. I don't know if it's still there. It may be gone. Right across the street from the DGA at one point, Caddy Corner. And we shot that right there. And we're dancing in suds and wetness and everything. I'm like, I can't do this on dry land. What are you having me do? What are you talking about? Pirouette, agente, bon mot. Like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I know the words, but I can't do that. But it's like being, it was like the super aggressive peer pressure. And something happens sometimes when the camera turns on and you're like, well, I'm either going to fall on my ass or make this happen. So we did it a few times, and I think I faked my way through it. I got through it. It was fine. And then at the end of the night, it was interesting because Debbie didn't have a ride home somehow. And she's like, will you give me a ride home? I said, yeah. So I'm driving her home, and she's like, sorry I was so hard on you, but you can't quit stuff, baby. You can't say no to stuff. You're never going to get anywhere saying no to stuff. They asked me to direct the Oscars, and I was like, yes. And then I got home and I went, oh shit, I gotta figure out how to direct the Oscars. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
How do I do
this? Yes, how do I do it? She goes, but you say yes, and then you figure it out. That's how you move through life. That's how you get these opportunities, and that's how you keep going. I was like, well, you were consistently Debbie Allen, so I've never forgotten that time. But yeah, it's not anything I rushed to do again. I'll tell you that much.
All right, so next one. What were your initial thoughts when you were cast as James Rhodey Rhodes?
How many years?
That was my initial
thought. Wait a minute. How long?
I'm committing to what?
Yeah. I have how many hours to say yes or no to this? Yeah, it was a full court press on that one too. What had happened prior to with Terrence being in the role, and then that going away, and then it becoming an open role, and them coming to me first and saying, you have to make this decision. You have an hour. If it's not you, we're going to the next dude. We're going to make this is going to happen fast. So you got an hour to say if you want to do this. I was like, that's 12 years. They're like, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm at my kid's laser tag birthday party right now. They're like, oh, take 2 hours. So
they gave you a whole additional 60 minutes.
Take another 60 minutes then, while you're playing laser tag, to figure out if you want to do this for 12 years. It's like, are there any scripts? They're like, mm-mm. It's like, do we know what all of these things are going to be? They're like, we have titles. So so it was both exciting and daunting to think about how long of a ride it was going to be into some unknown universe. But I talked to my wife about it, and we were like, let's roll the dice. Let's see.
I love it. All right, so which of your MCU co-stars would you want on your heist team?
I feel like I can't answer that in deference to us maybe actually doing something in real life legitimately, and I don't think I should say any more about it.
You would like not to incriminate yourself or any of your co-stars. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right, okay, that's respectful. Uh, Hi Don. I hope you're okay. It's good to see you. You're amazing. My question for you is: have you ever finished filming a scene of a film, and at that moment the camera's off? You felt, oh, it's over here. Damn, that was good. We got cut off.
Not usually. Usually you feel, damn, everybody's gonna see that. I mean, I know very few actors, honestly, who finish and think like, "Oh, I crushed that," or, go home without regret or without second guessing what they did, or even without, when the camera turns around and you're doing off camera for somebody else, then you feel like, now I've figured out what the scene is. Now I've nailed it. When it's on them, it's like, can we turn it back? No, you're over that shit. So that's usually what I feel. I think neuroses and self doubt is almost always in the sidecar, and is a permanent passenger for me anyway. And like I said, most actors that I know, I don't think many of us ever feel like we did it, because it's so nebulous. It's what you don't actually ever really know. I used to tell people it's like why I like to wash dishes, because there's dirty dishes, then there's clean dishes. Do the laundry. The laundry's dirty, then it's clean. It's like, I know I did that. I know that happened. You finish a scene, you're like, you don't ever really.
All
Yeah.
right, so we have, if you have time, we have two more questions, and then I will give you, because you have so much work to do. But we have so many questions for you. I don't want to leave some of these out. The Blurred Girl, which was more challenging, writing, directing, producing, and starring in Miles Ahead, which we
Yes.
just talked about,
Yes.
or preparing for the role in Hotel Rwanda?
Yes.
Okay, I will respect that. I understand with you.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, both of them were more than I felt like I could really take on. And the level of responsibility that I felt in both of those roles, getting them right, was a lot of pressure. Paul Rusesabagina, who is in prison right now in Rwanda, and more to come on that subject soon. Terrible. Was with me when we shot Hotel Rwanda. So imagine playing this person who is sitting right there, who went through what that movie depicts, and his wife Tatiana there, and their kids, and extras in the movie who had gone through the genocide. So that's who was around all the time, and you're tasked to play that. So that was a lot of pressure, and that was intense every day. And Miles Ahead, playing that part for different reasons, was as well. Aaron, his son, was around. Cheryl, his daughter. Vince Wilburn, his nephew, were very present all the time. And like I said before, taking on all of those different roles and trying to not drop the ball. It was both of those were really high bars for me, for sure. And I couldn't compare which was harder. They were both equally challenging.
All right, so last fan question from Black Girl Gamers. What does he want the next generation of Black actors to know?
That's interesting, because I don't know that I'm as plugged in with how the next generation of actors even moves through this business. When I came in many years ago, it was a very different place and very different time. We didn't have all these streamers. We didn't have all of these opportunities for you to create your content yourself and put it on YouTube, put it on whatever platform you want to, and become big off of that. There was no TikTok. And I know now that people are cast often in projects based on their social media following. So there's all these different ways that the game works that I'm from a dinosaur era that were not available or even invented yet for me. The one thing that I would say is, however it works, for Black actors and for actors, any actors right now, I think being a writer is important. I think being a content creator is always going to be important. And understanding how to do that, even if you aren't successful as far as creating projects that get put on the air or get put on a streamer or turn into a movie or TV show or whatever, understanding that animal is really important. Knowing how to tell a story is very important. Knowing what script analysis is and what story arcs are and what a protagonist is and an antagonist, and just really understanding the animal that you are going to be a part of is really important. And you're very additive in that space, and when you are that person, you are often asked to throw in. You don't want to be that person on the set who's in a role and doing something and the director says, "What do you think?" And you're like, "I don't think anything." You want to have examined this beast fully and really know from whence you speak about the not only the process but the story that you're trying to tell. And that's a part of becoming an invaluable asset, and being somebody who, when people speak about you, they're like, "No, that's a professional." That person showed. And there's basic stuff. Show up on time. Don't be a diva. Play well with others. Pay attention. Don't treat every job like it's the last time you're going to get to do it. Really relish it and lean into this, because you're so lucky. We're so lucky to have these spots. So to Black actors, to all actors, know the animal. Know the animal.
I love it. All right, so I know you've got a million things to do, lots of stuff that are in pre-production and production and post-production. Is there anything else you want?
I gotta put lotion on my feet. I got a lot of stuff I gotta do.
I mean, first of all, lotion is extremely important, which is one of the lessons I learned from Don Cheadle. Always have lotion in your purse.
I'm a dark complected dude. I don't even carry a purse, but I'm gonna be packing some lotion somewhere.
I mean, that's a loaded answer. So my question is for you: is there anything else you want folks to know? Anything else you want folks to be looking out for? I know you got a lot of stuff that's coming down the pipe. The Wonder Years, White Noise, Black Stallions. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming.
There is a lot of stuff. There is. I guess there is. Yeah, there's stuff coming. No, nothing specific. I hope everybody is really taking care of their mind, body, and spirit out there, because it's a lot going on, and don't let your light get snuffed out. Try to stay up as hard as that job is. Count to 10, deep breaths, diaphragmatic breathing. My dad talked about it a lot, and God rest his soul, he was absolutely right.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you for all the fans for watching. This has been Don Cheadle talking about all the great stuff. And please make sure you follow on Ace Universe, Ace Comic Con. There's more stuff to come.